brawlers, bladers, and fellow awesome nerds.
I am Baku.
And I am Baku Dad, and we are the BakuBoys. And if this is your first time to the channel, please
like and subscribe.
Also, please be sure to drop us a comment and check out our other projects in the description below, as we do try and release weekly Bakugan, Beyblade, and other awesome nerdy content every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what we've got in store for you guys for this video. So today is Saturday, September 17th, and for today's unboxing video,
I was just staring at the camera.
You were looking a little robotic, like a certain sad, lonely robot we both already know, which is actually leading up to what today's unboxing is about.
I know who it is! Corn! Corn!
It has the juice. Oh gosh. Not corn, but carn.
Roar? New people in Magic the Gathering. Oh, corn. Me? Corn. Right when I did the slap, my back popped.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But yes, today's unboxing video, Baku Kid and I, we were actually super excited to snag one of these because we got this out of a trade from our friends over at Dice Age Games, and we got a bundle box for Magic the Gathering's new set, Dominaria United.
The first planes.
Yes, the very first plane, or the very first realm that we visited.
I actually got it right?
Yes, Dominaria was actually the very first plane. This Dominaria is the plane where all of Magic the Gathering's story began.
Wait, it's a plane? Then why aren't the planeswalkers planes?
You are so silly. But I have not seen, well, I haven't gotten one of these in years. I remember, I think I remember the last bundle box I got, they were called Fat Packs back when they were doing them. But the last one I got was for Core Set 2012.
Corn.
Or it might have been one of the Innistrad boxes that I wound up getting a bundle for. I can't remember. Oh, actually, I think I wound up getting one for Return to Ravnica when that came out.
I just went to one boxes.
But yeah, it's been a while. But thanks to my friends over at Dice Age Games, and thanks for them trading with me, we were able to, Baku Kid and I were able to get a box for ourselves. And honestly, by the time we are recording this, we are actually recording this on the official release weekend date of this. So when you guys see this video, it'll actually be the 17th, but today is, Baku Kid and I are opening this on the 10th because we just got this yesterday and we are so excited. Or technically the 9th and not yesterday. So we got it on the 9th, which is a week from yesterday.
So,
or a week plus a day from yesterday. Oh gosh.
Technically today is 9th/10th. Then for us today, not for them, tomorrow will be 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
We're that, we're like the Twin
Towers.
Yep.
Because you've been learning about that in school.
Yeah, and one of the catchphrase, someone said, "Let's roll," and then they, like, died, I think, which was very sad.
Yeah. But
I learned about it in school.
But we are not going to waste that much more time. We are going to jump straight to the table where Baku Kid and I are going to open up this bundle box of Dominaria United to also celebrate Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary. We will catch you guys at the table in just a moment.
So you're at like a table.
Yow!
Corn. Yeah. Welcome back to the table where we are unboxing this.
Yes, welcome back to the table where we are unboxing this Magic the Gathering Dominaria United bundle box. It comes with 8 set boosters, and what's different about the set boosters that we get, so the booster packs that we've normally been opening have been draft boosters, and the draft boosters are 15 cards. The set boosters are 12 cards. So let's check out the back of the box real quick because it shows the contents back here. So we get 20 traditional foil and 20 regular basic lands. We get an oversized spin down life counter. We get 8 12-card Dominaria United set booster packs, 2 reference cards, an alternate art traditional foil herd migration card, and a Dominaria United card box. And right here, it gives a description of the set, return to where it all began. Dominaria, an ancient plane filled with countless cultures, legends, and forgotten treasures. As a secret enemy plots to invade, the people of Dominaria must band together to protect their home. Use the legendary creatures that come in every pack to assemble a new coalition and defend the plane where magic started.
I want to unbox it. This will be my very first time.
This will be your very first Magic the Gathering box opening.
I can already tell that you unboxed it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Try.
We got one.
That was actually kind of cool. That was fast.
Undo these.
Side.
And now. And I really like the box art for this because right here on the box it has Ajani Goldmane and Liliana Vess, who are 2 of Magic the Gathering's planeswalkers. Ooh. Yep, there's Karn, the sad, lonely, pacifist robot. And ooh. Oh, that is nice. We get some art on the back. We get a Leonin warrior.
This goes in my room.
Or that's like a tiger warrior.
This would go in my room, okay?
You want that art piece?
Yes.
Okay, you can have that.
Yay.
So let's take a look at this awesome box because we do get a Dominaria United card box to keep a lot of stuff in.
And you're okay with it, right?
Yep.
Because
so right here we have Liliana Vess.
in the back.
We have Ajani Goldmane, and here is the Planeswalker emblem in this kind of stained glass art.
I want to open.
Go ahead. So, oh, what is? This is new. This has got some punch outs. Oh, what? We get +1/+1 tokens. We get Dominaria United symbols. We get Planeswalker. I think those might be Planeswalker emblems.
I want to punch them out.
So,
you get them out.
Here is the oversized spin down life counter that we get. The 20 is the Dominaria United symbol, and as you can see, this is why it's called a spin down, because you spin it and it goes through your life points all the way down from 20 to 1. That is super cool. All right. Well, here are the packs of lands that we get. Yeah, here's 20 non-foil Dominaria United lands. 4 of each of the 5 colors, yep. And then, right inside this pack is going to be our 20 foil lands and the alternate art herd migration.
I'm taking everything that comes out.
Oh, you're punching out all the cardboard stuffs? So
Look at
here
that.
is our... Ooh, yeah, I like that.
And
So
then there's another one coming back.
ooh, that looks cool. So our foil alternate art herd migration. It's a sorcery spell. Costs 1 forest and 6 generic. It has domain. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token for each basic land type among lands you control. So if you have if you have 1 of each of the 5 basic lands, you get to create 5 tokens for the domain ability. And then for a forest and 1 generic, discard herd migration. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You gain 3 life.
This is
And
awesome.
then here are all the foil land cards. These are really nice. Very excited about getting all those.
Did you hear on what I just did?
Yes, I did.
Good.
And then here's our 2 reference cards. They reduced. Wow, I mean, yeah, there's the basic book on how to play, but these are the reference cards that basically kind of just goes through the basic mechanics and basic phases. This is cool. I like these reference cards. And those punch-out cardboard pieces are really nice. I like those.
Which one would you want?
I don't know. It'd be hard to decide.
I know. How about you get one and I get one?
And 8 12 card booster packs.
Each one of mine.
So Baku Kid and I get to open 4 apiece.
Can you do mine first?
Yes, we can.
Actually, you can do yours first.
Do mine first?
Yeah, for a change.
Okay. So.
Oh! Can I show?
Wow!
Can I show mine?
The art card from yours?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
It's a robot.
We get some art cards with these. I like these art cards. Okay, there's an island. A snare spinner, which is a spider creature, costs 1 forest, 1 generic. It has reach, and whenever snare spinner blocks a creature with flying, snare spinner gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And it's a 1/3. Yavimaya Sojourner costs 1 forest and 7 generic. It's a tree folk creature. Domain, this spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control.
Okay,
And it's a
this is
4/6.
awesome.
Vine Shaper Prodigy, it's an elf druid for 1 forest and 1 generic. It has a kicker, which costs 1 blue and 1 generic. So you may pay an additional... Yep, you can kick the spell. Whenever Vine Shaper Prodigy enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And it's a 2/2.
I want to open. Oh, I want to open up the next one so I can see what's the next art card.
The next art card.
Because it's awesome.
Well, let's wait until we get through with these packs one at a time, bud.
I'll try.
So, Juniper Order Root Weaver costs 1 plains, 1 generic. It's a human druid creature. And it's got a kicker for 1 forest. When Juniper Order Root Weaver enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it's a 2/2.
Just so I don't get bored, okay?
A Monstrous Warleech. It's a Leech Horror that costs 1 generic and 1 swamp and 3 generic. It's got a blue, island kicker. As Monstrous War Leech enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, mill 4 cards. Monstrous War Leech's power and toughness are each equal to the highest mana value among cards in your graveyard. Oh. Okay. A Hero's Heirloom. It's an artifact equipment. Costs 2 generic. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. As long as equipped creature is legendary, it has trample and haste, and you can equip it for 2. Joint Exploration. It's an instant that costs 1 island and 1 generic, and it has a forest kicker. Scry 2, then draw a card. If this spell was kicked, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Ooh. Tira Kennerud Sky Knight. It's a legendary human knight creature. Costs 1 plane, 2 islands, and 2 generic. It has flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, and it's a 3/3. Woo! We got another stained glass art card. Najal the Stormrunner. Costs 2 island, 1 mountain, 2 generic, and it's a legendary Efreet Wizard. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Whenever Najal the Stormrunner attacks, you may pay 2 generic. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copies. And it's a 5/4. Ooh. And we have our rare card, which is dragged to the bottom. Costs 2 swamps, 2 generic. It's a sorcery, and it has domain. Each creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn, where X is 1 plus the number of basic land types among lands you control. Ooh, we have a foil Monstrous War Leech. We already saw that card earlier, so we don't need to read that. Ooh, Spirit of the Labyrinth. I don't know what set this came from, but this is pretty cool. So, it costs 1 plain, 1 generic. It's an enchantment creature spirit. Each player can't draw more than 1 card each turn. It's a 3/1. That is really cool. And now to look at Baku Kid's pack that he opened. And oh my gosh, Baku Kid. We already got one of the full art, alternate art, stained glass art lands, and it's the Plains.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, Benelish Sleeper, a Phyrexian human soldier creature. Yeah, there's the enemy. There's the Dominaria enemy, the Phyrexians. Benelish Sleeper costs 1 plain, 1 generic, and it has a swamp kicker. When Benelish Sleeper enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, each player sacrifices a creature, and it's a 3/1. Ooh, Negate. It's an instant that costs 1 island and 1 generic. Counter target non-creature spell. That's always good. Citizen's Arrest. Costs 2 plains and 1 generic. It's an enchantment. When Citizen's Arrest enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Citizen's Arrest leaves the battlefield. That's a nice little enchantment. Ooh, a Phoenix Chick. Costs 1 mountain. It's a Phoenix creature with flying and haste. Phoenix Chick can't block. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may pay 2 mountains. If you do, return Phoenix Chick from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking with a +1/+1 counter on it.
Do I know what that reminds me of?
What?
Realm Royale.
Oh, yeah. Fires of Victory. An instant that costs 1 mountain, 1 generic. It's got a kicker of an island and 2 generic. If this spell was kicked, draw a card. Fires of Victory deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of cards in your hand. Ooh. Rulik Mon's Warren Chief, a legendary goblin that costs 1 mountain, 2 force, and 1 generic. It has menace. This creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Whenever Rulik Mon's Warren Chief attacks, Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you didn't put a card onto the battlefield this way, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Nice. Okay, we got a sprouting goblin. It's a goblin druid that costs 1 mountain and 1 generic. It has a kicker for a forest, and when sprouting goblin enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, search your library for a land card with a basic land type, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and then you can pay 1 mountain and tap, sacrifice a land, draw a card, and it's a 2/2. Ooh, the Hurler Cyclops. Costs 2 mountains and 3 generic. It is a Cyclops creature, and it has an ability that if you pay 1 generic, sacrifice another creature, Hurler Cyclops deals 1 damage to any target. And it's a 5/4. Oh, another stained art land card. Or not land card, but a stained art card. The Bortic Bone Rattle. It's a legendary troll shaman. Costs 1 swamp, 1 forest, and 4 generic. It has domain. When Bortic Bone Rattle enters the battlefield, if you cast it, choose target creature card in your graveyard, return that card to the battlefield. If its mana value is less than or equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control, otherwise put it into your hand. Oh, wow. That's nice. He can recall stuff from the grave. That's really good. Okay, and then our rare is Threats Undetected. It's a sorcery, costs 1 forest, 2 generic. Search your library for up to 4 creature cards with different powers and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Shuffle the chosen cards into your library and put the rest into your hand. Our foil card is a Charismatic Vanguard. It's a dwarf soldier that costs 1 plain, 2 generic. And for a plain and 4 generic, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, and it's a 3/2. Ooh, and we get a 3/3 beast creature token as our last card from that pack.
Now I can open it?
Yep. Let's go ahead and open our next packs.
Okay, now I go first.
Now yours first?
Yes.
Okay, so I will wait.
Oh, wow. That's
Ooh. Another stained glass art card. I love the stained glass art on these. These are awesome. Okay.
Stained art glass?
Stained glass art. Okay, we got a plains. And now, Furious Bellow. It's an instant that costs 1 mountain and 1 generic. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn and scry 1. Okay. Coalition Warbrute. It's a Minotaur Berserker that costs 1 mountain, 3 generic. It has Enlist. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's until end of turn, and it has Trample. Oh, wow. I like that Enlist ability. Okay, Salvaged Mana Worker. It's an artifact construct creature. Costs 2 generic. And for 1 tap 1 generic, add 1 mana of any color, activate only once each turn. So 1/3. Knight of Dawn's Light. It's a human knight that costs 1 plain, 1 generic. It has first strike. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And for 1 plain, 1 generic, Knight of Dawn's Light gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it's a 2/2. Tori de Avenant Fury Rider. It's a legendary human knight that costs 2 mountains, 1 plain, 1 generic. It has Vigilance and Trample. Whenever Tori de Avenant Fury Rider attacks, all other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Other red attacking creatures you control gain Trample until end of turn. Untap each other white attacking creature you control, and it's a 3/3. Choking Miasma. It's a sorcery that costs 2 swamp, 1 generic. It's got a kicker for a forest. If the spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Territorial Morrow, it's an elemental creature that costs 1 forest, 4 generic. It has domain. Territorial Morrow's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of basic land types among lands you control. It's not bad. Sanger Connoisseur, it's a vampire that costs 2 swamps, 3 generic. It has flying. Whenever one or more other creatures die, put a +1/+1 counter on Sanger Connoisseur. This ability triggers only once each turn, and it's a 3/3. Yeah! We got another stained glass art, and
Yeah!
that's awesome because it is the exact same one we got from this pack. The Balmor Battle Mage Captain. It's a legendary bird wizard that costs 1 island and 1 mountain. Ooh, is it colors? It has flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain trample until end of turn. It's a 1/3. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. We just got the Planeswalker card, Ajani Sleeper Agent.
What?
I wonder if Ajani is corrupted by the Phyrexians. What happened to our boy Ajani? He costs 1 forest, 1 plain, and then he has the completed, so you can pay 1 forest, 1 plain, or 2 life. If life was paid, this Planeswalker enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters and 1 generic. So he comes in with 4 loyalty counters, and then for +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or Planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it on the bottom of your library. For -3 loyalty, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among up to 3 target creatures. They gain vigilance until end of turn. And then for -6, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a creature or Planeswalker spell, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. And poison counters, I remember when they were first introduced into the new Phyrexia Mirrodin Besieged Mirrodin 2.0 set back in, I think, 2011. And if was got 10 poison counters, they automatically lose the game.
Wow.
That is crazy. So we got a Ajani Sleeper Agent, and then we got a foil Fires of Victory. So we've already seen that card. Ooh! And then we get a Badger, a 3/3 Badger creature token. That is cool. I like the art on that Badger token. Okay, and now, time to look at the pack I opened. Here's the art card from that. Okay. We get a Plains. Ooh, we get one of the dual lands, a Molten Tributary. It adds island or mountain. Molten Tributary enters the battlefield tapped. A Meteorite artifact costs 5 generic. When Meteorite enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. And you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So it's a mana dork. It's an another dual land, the Contaminated Aquafire. Tap for island or swamp. Enters the battlefield tapped. Voda Sea Scavenger, Merfolk Rogue, costs 1 island, 2 generic. It has domain. When Voda Sea Scavenger enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. You may put one of those cards on top of your library. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a 3/2. Stall for Time, it's an instant, costs 1 plain, 2 generic, has a kicker for an island and 1 generic. Tap up to 2 target creatures. If this spell was kicked, put a stun counter on each of those creatures. If a permanent with a stun counter would become untapped, remove a stun counter from it instead, and you get to draw a card. Prayer of Binding, enchantment that costs 1 plain, 3 generic. It has flash. Prayer of Binding enters the battlefield. Exile up to 1 target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Prayer of Binding leaves the battlefield. You gain 2 life. Ooh, a Cleaving Skyrider. It's a human warrior that costs 1 plain, 1 generic. It has flash, and it has a kicker of a mountain and 2 generic, and it has flying. When Cleaving Skyrider enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of attacking creatures. And it's a 2/2. Tear Asunder. It's an instant that costs 1 forest, 1 generic. It has a kicker of a swamp and 1 generic. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If the spell was kicked, exile target non-land permanent instead. I like that. Ooh! Another stained glass art card, Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. It's a legendary human shaman creature that costs 1 mountain, 1 swamp, 1 generic. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And you can tap Lagomos to search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate only if 5 or more creatures died this turn. It's a 1/3. Oh my gosh. He has a tutor ability. That is amazing. Wow. And then our land card is a Shockland. So you can tap the Shivan Reef to add 1 generic or 1 colorless mana, or you could tap it to add a island or swamp, and then Shivan Reef deals 1 damage to you. The reason why we call it a Shockland is because it's a land that deals damage to you when it's activated. And then our foil card is a Votus Sea Scavenger. We just saw the Votus Sea Scavenger. And then our token card is a 1/1 soldier token. Okay, 4 packs down, 4 to go.
Okay, now it's you. I've probably been quiet for so long that they forgot that I was here.
Okay, so another stained glass art card. I like this one. A swamp. Jaya's Firenado costs 1 mountain, 4 generic. It's a sorcery. Jaya's Firenado deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Scry 1. Shadow Prophecy. It's an instant for 1 swamp, 2 generic. Domain. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Put up to 2 of them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 2 life. Bone Splinters, it's a sorcery that costs 1 swamp. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Destroy target creature. Ooh, that's actually not bad. Pilfer, a sorcery that costs 1 swamp, 1 generic. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Ooh, Urg, Spawn of Turg. It's a legendary frog beast that costs 2 swamps and 1 forest. Urg, Spawn of Turg's power is equal to the number of land cards in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. And then for a swamp and a forest, sacrifice a land. You gain 2 life. And it is whatever power you can get it to, and 5 on toughness. Runic Shot. It's a sorcery for a plains, and it has a kicker of an island. Destroy target tapped creature. If this spell was kicked, scry 2. Ooh. Stained glass art card. Aaron Benalis Ruin. Oh, Aaron Benalia's Ruin. Legendary Phyrexian human creature. Costs 2 plains and 1 swamp. It has menace. And then for a plain and a swamp and tap, sacrifice another creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. It's a 3/3. Ooh, we got another Balmor Battle Mage Captain. Ooh, Maria Scholar of Antiquity. A legendary Elf Artificer, and it's our rare card. It costs 1 mountain, 1 forest, and 1 generic. Tap an untapped non-token artifact you control, add a forest. Tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn, and it's a 3/3. We get another Planeswalker!
Yay!
We got Jaya, Fiery Negotiator. Wow! So 2 mythic Planeswalkers already. We got Ajani and we got Jaya. So Jaya costs 2 mountains, 2 generic. She enters with 4 loyalty, and for +1 loyalty, create a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess. For -1, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. -2, choose target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, Jaya Fiery Negotiator deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature, and -8, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. Oh, wow. And then our foil card, Phyrexian Espionage. It's a sorcery that costs 1 island, 2 generic. It has a kicker of 1 swamp, 1 generic. Draw 2 cards. If the spell was kicked, each opponent discards a card. And then we get another 1/1 soldier token. And now, Baku Kids, ooh, we get an art card, a signed by the artist art card of Sheoldred, one of the new Phyrexian Praetor cards. Well, Sheoldred is back. It's not the first time I've seen Shelly.
Wait, what is that?
That is the artist's signature. The artist who did the art for that.
That's mine.
That is their golden signature on the card. And
so that means that's mine.
We get a mountain. Okay. Benelish Sleeper, we've seen that one. Negate, seen that. Citizen's Arrest. Haunting Figment.
I saw that.
It's an illusion.
It's awesome.
It costs 1 island, 1 generic. It has Vigilance. Haunting Figment can't be blocked as long as you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. And it's a 2/1. Ooh. Rona, Sheoldred's Faithful. A legendary human wizard that costs 1 island, 2 swamps, and 1 generic. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life. You may cast Rona, Sheoldred's Faithful, from your graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to paying its other costs. And she is a 3/4. We got Rona's Vortex, which costs 1 island, it's an instant, and it's got a kicker for 1 swamp, 2 generic. Return target creature or planeswalker you don't control to its owner's hand. If this spell was kicked, put that permanent on the bottom of its owner's library instead. Ooh. Ellis Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim. A legendary Phyrexian core cleric that costs 1 island, or not 1 island, 1 plane, 1 swamp. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. And she is a 2/2. Ooh! Queen Alanal of Rodak. She's a legendary elf noble that costs 1 forest, 2 plains. Queen Alanal of Rodak's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens get a +1/+1 white soldier creature token. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created instead. Oh, okay. Ooh, Roth Weatherlight Stalwart. He's a legendary human wizard that costs 1 plane, 1 island. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. If you do, draw a card. And then for 3 generic, 2 planes. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn, and he's a 1/3. We got the Caves of Koilos for a shock land, and this is the rare card we get. So tap to add a colorless, or tap to add an island, a plain or swamp. Cave of Koilos deals 1 damage to you. Ooh! We get a foil Llanowar Green Widow. It's a rare spider creature that costs 1 force, 2 generic. It has reach and trample and domain. For a forced and 7 generic, return Llanowar Green Widow from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains if this permanent would leave the battlefield. Exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control, and it's a 4/3.
Get out of here.
And then we get a mythic card.
Yay!
Phyrexian Scriptures. It's a enchantment saga that costs 2 swamps, 2 generic. And at first lore, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. That creature becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. At 2 lore, destroy all non-artifact creatures, and at 3 lore, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. Wow.
I already opened mine.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, and now we are going into the last 2 booster packs.
Okay, we're doing mine first because I saw what was in there. And
Okay, so looking at Baku Kids pack first, one of the stained glass art cards, very beautiful, and stained glass full art land, and it's a mountain. Beautiful. Okay, Barkweave Crusher. I can't remember if we did see the Barkweave Crusher.
No, I actually remember him. It was just from a different time when we were not making a video.
Oh, yeah. So, Barkweave Crusher, it's an elemental warrior that costs 1 force, 3 generic with the enlist ability, and he's a 2/5. Radiant Grove. It enters the battlefield tap, but it can tap for either forest or plains. Take with the shield. It's an instant that costs 1 plain, 1 generic. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn.
Wasn't that fire?
Yep. Terra Sunder. Yep, we saw Terra Sunder already. Ooh, Tail Swipe. It's an instant that costs 1 forest.
I remember that.
Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. If you cast this spell during your main phase, the creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then those creatures fight each other.
I remember that from the time we do it.
Linebreaker Baloth. It's a beast that costs 2 force, 3 generic with the endless ability. Linebreaker Baloth can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Ooh, Yavimaya Ironclast. It's an elf that costs 1 forest, 1 generic. It has a kicker for a mountain. And when Yavimaya Ironclast enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Oh, and the Linebreaker Baloth is a 4/5. Yavimaya Ironclast is a 3/2. Ooh, here's the regular art for Queen Elenel of Rodak. We saw her already. Rulik Mons, War in Chief. We've already seen him, and this is his alternate stained glass art card. Defiler of Dreams. It's a Phyrexian Sphinx creature that costs 2 islands, 3 generics. It has flying. As an additional cost to cast blue permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 island less to cast if you paid life this way. This effect reduces only the amount of blue mana you pay. Whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card, and it's a 4/3. Ooh, we get a foil copy of Hammerhand. It's an enchantment aura that costs 1 mountain. And it's an enchant creature. When Hammer Hand enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. And then the last card, it is a elemental creature token that has trample and haste, and it's a 2/1. And now, the last pack, the pack I opened. Here's the art card. And then the land card we get. Ooh, a foil plains.
Wow.
Okay, salvaged mana worker. We've seen that one already. Magnagoth Sentry. It's a tree folk that costs 1 forest, 3 generic. It has reach and it's a 4/4. Gaia's Might.
It's gone in an instant.
It's an instant spell that costs 1 forest. Domain, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each basic land type among lands you control.
Know what instant means? It's gone in an instant.
Yep. Strength of the Coalition, another instant card that costs 1 forest, and it has a kicker for a plain and 2 generic. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
That's also gone in instant.
Shaylas Acolyte. It's an angel creature that costs 1 plain, 4 generic, and you can kick it for 1 forest and 1 generic. It has flying, and if Shayla's Acolyte was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and it's a 3/4.
What does kick mean?
It's the kicker ability.
Oh.
Ooh, Prayer of Binding. We already saw this one earlier. Cleaving Skyrider. Saw that one earlier. Ooh. Baird. Argivian Recruiter. It's a legendary human soldier that costs 1 mountain, 1 plain. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power greater than its base power, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, and it's a 2/2.
Thor hair and Thor beard.
Mm-hmm. Wow! We have the extended art for Ajani Sleeper Agent. That is just amazing. Okay, Guardian of New Benalia. It's a human soldier. This is our rare card. That was just awesome. We got a mythic and a rare. So 1 plain, 1 generic with the enlist ability. Whenever Guardian of New Benalia enlists a creature, scry 2. Discard a card. Guardian of New Benalia gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it. And then our foil card is the Tattered Apparition.
I just wanted to
It's a shade creature that costs 1 swamp, 3 generic. It has flying. And then for 1 swamp, 1 generic, Tattered Apparition gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it's a 2/2. Wow. Oh. A reprinted older land card. I remember when this set came out. I can't remember if this was from the Onslaught block or not. But we have the Barbarian Ring. A land card, you can tap to add mountain to your mana pool. Barbarian Ring deals 1 damage to you, so it's a shock land. But it has Threshold for a mountain and tap. Sacrifice Barbarian Ring. Barbarian Ring deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Play this ability only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, and that is how Threshold works. Oh, wow. We got some awesome pulls from those packs. I am super excited about that. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for this video.
Being quiet is my favorite hobby.
We hope you all did enjoy this Dominaria United bundle box unboxing, because this was awesome. I have not opened up one of these in quite a while, and seeing what they've done with these new bundle boxes is really awesome, and I've been very impressed with our pulls that we got from these packs.
And you must be very, 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 very happy that you opened it with me.
Yes, I am. We got to experience this together, which was awesome for both of us.
Mine.
But
this is awesome.
Yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe if you have not already, because we are busy working on content all the time, or when we can. Because we do take a couple breaks between now and then, between making content and other stuff. But
ow.
Until next video, we are the BakuBoys signing out.
I am Baku.
And I am Baku Dad. And always remember to Bakugan Brawl, let it rip, and stay awesome and nerdy. Peace out, guys.
Bye.